Hi, Shahida, it's you again. Saw you yesterday. Can you hear me? You should be able to hear you. Hear me. Sorry, not hear you. How's your maths paper? This is the maths paper. I'm P6. Quite easy. I heard the paper two was a bit. I heard the paper one was easy, but the paper one is difficult. Is it? Wait, who died? Paper two was meh. Paper was pretty easy. If it's easy, well, that's the good news. Then the bad news is, I suppose the science paper is going to be difficult. I think that's going to be the bad news. Yeah, because typically it's like if maths is easy, science will be difficult. If science is easy, then maths will be difficult. So that's how they work lah. That's how it works to kind of like balance up everything. But but don't worry. I mean, science in itself is not too difficult to score as long as your MCQs you're careful, and if you can get no more than 5 mistakes. I think yes, we are going through a few PSLE questions from the 2023 paper. Just some tricky question, and just give you all some tips to look out for. Training and the mind maths is good, but science is bad. How come? Because usually maths and science are pretty related to each other. Right? If your maths is good, I think maybe science is a bit more towards like reasoning English, right? If your English is weak, then probably your science you will struggle a bit. I okay. I think I'll wait for just 1 minute more or so, right? Okay, so today you all finished the maths paper already. Only left with science next week. Next week is science, and then left with mother tongue, right? Yeah, and then you're done. You can enjoy already. I'm not late this time, Heidi. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have not started yet, but I'm supposed to start soon. Math was easy. That's good. Hopefully AL1 for science. Okay, yes. So what I tell for students who wants to score for AL1 is that you must not lose more than 10 marks. Okay, so make sure you don't lose more than 10 marks. Well, don't think of how to earn 90 marks. Okay, I took PSLE first year, the trauma. Yes, of course. I hope this is not the second year you took PSLE. Then that will be Science is my best is AL3. I think AL3 is very close to AL2, right? So they're just 5 marks apart. The key thing is you need to be careful, right? Try to be careful. If you are in the top 3 AL, I think a careless mistake does really matter, does make a big difference. All right. Maths is easy. Okay, that's good. Science, I get AL2 for exam, AL3 for practice paper. Okay, that means you're floating around AL2, 3, right? Hopefully you're able to squeeze yourself into AL1. Okay, paper 2, there are some, I would think that there's supposed to be 15 marks which are difficult for the maths paper. Other subject just average. Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean for me, last time I was good in maths and science, but English and mother tongue is also meh. I keep failing my mother tongue especially. Okay, anyway, I think we can kind of like get started. Okay, slowly get into a few MCQs to warm up, right? Okay, today we're gonna go through a few questions. I think 3 MCQs and also was it 2 or 3 OEQ questions from the 2023 paper. There are a few questions which I think are pretty interesting. Like for example, this question number 1. Okay, Jiamin placed 5 fruit flies, okay, in a jar containing food and water. Okay, so there are 5 fruit flies. There is food and water. Okay, if you look at the diagram, there's really exactly 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so no more, no less. Okay, when there is food and water, okay, I'm sure you will be able to survive, right? Because this is essential for survival. Okay, but there's one more thing which is needed, which is air. So hopefully you all saw this netting with holes. Okay, looking at the diagram, right? We must also look at the diagram carefully. Okay, netting with holes, that means there's going to be air, okay, which can enter the jar, right? So they will have air, they have food, they have water. I think they're going to survive, okay? So the diagram below shows the number of fruit flies over 25 days. Okay, the 25 days will be day 1, day 10, day 17, day 25. Okay, increasing. But looking at the diagram, we can see something, right? We can see that it is increasing, then suddenly decrease. There are a lot of flies which died. Okay, then the question is asking you which row gives the correct conclusion. Okay, not only must you have the correct conclusion and also the reason for death of the flies. Okay, so why did the flies die? Okay, you have to ask yourself, right? Okay, why? You must have a reason and a conclusion. So conclusion based on observation from day 1 to 14. Oh, sorry, not 14. Day 1 to day 17. Okay, we can see from day 1 to 17, the number of flies is increasing. Okay, I'm just going to write in here increase, right? So why do they increase? Probably it's because they are reproducing, right? This is the MCQ. So if you want to really get a good idea of what is happening, you should read through the answers first. Okay, day 1 to day 17, is it living things respond? Is it living things reproduce? Right, there's only two types of options for you to choose. The more logical one will probably be living things reproduce. Right, they reproduce, that's why the number increase. Do they have the correct conditions? Yep, they do. They have food and water. There's also air provided, right? So there is enough things for them to survive, so they reproduce. It is not really about responding because there's nothing that is probing them, there's nothing that is stimulating them to respond. So it's more about reproduction, right? Okay, but the tricky part comes in this possible reason. What's the possible reason for the death from day 17 to day 25? Okay, we see two options. Number one is not enough air for the flies. Okay, and disease. Okay, I think this thing disease will throw us off a bit. Like what do you mean by disease? Like we never learn how does disease affect. I mean, of course, if you suffer from a disease, then you're gonna die, right? Like during the COVID period, right? A lot of people die unfortunately. But is it not enough air? Right? You have to ask yourself. I don't think it is because there's not enough air, right? Okay, so yes, we got to be careful and look at the diagram carefully. Yep. So, Konyong, yep, you made a careless mistake and didn't saw that there's nettings with holes. Yeah, the netting with holes is present for all the jar. So there's gonna be air, okay, in all of the setups, including the last one. Okay, so the last one will have sufficient air. There is still sufficient food and water. Okay, so this cannot be the reason, right? Not enough air, cannot be the reason. So it should be disease. Okay, although we don't learn about how the disease affect animals, okay, but if they're overcrowded, typically once a disease starts to break out, then a lot of the flies they're gonna start to die. All right. So the best option that you can choose will be option 4. All right, so I hope all of y'all was able to realize that this question, when they put the word disease, they're trying to throw you off. But don't panic. I mean, if a P5, sure, just hang around and listen. Next year, P6 is not too far away. A lot of the science questions are pretty logical questions also. Like this is about living, non-living things. You already learned it in P3, P4, right? So even if you're P5, you should be able to answer this kind of question. Okay, I always make careless mistake because I never annotate. I mean, annotating during the exam is a good habit, but it can cost you. You must learn how to manage your time properly. Don't over annotate, right? Because that will cause you to spend a lot of time, right? But you also cannot don't annotate, because annotating will help you to think. Okay, you need to do something. Writing helps you to think. That's why writing is important. There's gonna be Kahoot. No Bluecut. We don't use Bluecut. Yeah, there's gonna be a short Kahoot as usual, like tomorrow. Same as yesterday, right? Okay. Any question? Hopefully, this question is something that you all have already tried. I suppose you all have already done the booklet, right? There's a booklet with the past 8 years PSLE papers. How long to spend on OEQ and MCQ? I think, if I'm not wrong, MCQ should be around 15 minutes, if I'm not wrong, okay? But you should try to be organized, go through your questions quickly. For MCQs, if you're not very sure what to do, right, you should skip the question, okay, and don't spend too much time on a single question. Make sure you go through all the questions before you go back to that question and think about it again. But in science, certain good habits such as annotating, underlining keywords, all these will help you to reduce careless mistakes, especially at the beginning of the paper. Because at the beginning, once you sit down, you're gonna be nervous, you're gonna be stressed. Start writing, start annotating, start underlining the keywords. Okay, this will help you to focus. Once you start to focus, then you will forget about that. You're being nervous. All right. I take a lot of time to think and annotate though. So you must strike a balance, okay, between annotating and deciding which one is the answer. All right. Okay, we move on to the next question. Yes, this is P6. We're going through a few PSLE questions from last year. Did I write? Okay, yeah, I did change it to P6 Science Revision, so 2023 PSLE questions. All right. Just understand science concepts, and MCQ is very easy. Okay, MCQ is not difficult because you need to learn how to narrow down your option, right? Quickly narrow down your option. Like what I did in the previous question, I quickly narrow down to only two, then choose between the two. All right. Okay, we can do it again in this question number 2. Leela measured the mass of object X. Okay, the mass of object X is measured in the diagram below. Okay, so object X is 50 grams, right? 50 grams. Then Leela next placed object P above object X. Okay, so object P over here is placed above X in diagram 2. She then repeated the experiment with object Q. Object Q is over here as shown in diagram 3. Okay, so she repeated the experiment with object Q. And what do we see from the diagram? Okay, wow, why? Oi, teacher, why? What happened? Okay, so from the diagram 3, we can see something happening over here. The mass of the mass that's registered on the scale increased, right, to 70. Why did it increase? So you must be asking yourself a question now. Okay, why increase? Okay, so what can X be? What can P be? What is Q? Okay, so basically that is what the question is asking you, because the question is asking you, okay, what conclusion can you draw about PQ and X? Okay, which one is correct? If you look through the options, right, the option is asking you, okay, is it a magnetic material? Okay, is it a magnet? Is it a non-magnetic material? Okay, in fact, there's only two options that's talking about non-magnetic material, right? P5 can do. This is a magnet question, right? You've already learned magnet in P4, right? Okay, so let's think about it. Okay, what can X, Y, and Z be? Okay, why did it increase? Why did this increase, right? If it increased, it means that something must be pushing it down, push. Okay, so what is pushing it down? Is it Q? Q is pushing it down, then what can it be? I suppose you should start to think of X as a magnet and Q as a magnet. Why do we think of why do we think of X and Q as a magnet? Because you should be thinking that over here, why is there a push? Because it repel, right? Okay, because when it repel, it will push the two magnets apart, right? Okay, so in this case, over here, there is forces of repulsion, and then it will push object X down. So now you can start to narrow down, look at X, right? I think X should be a magnet. I think Q should be a magnet, right? So can it be a magnetic material and a magnet? I don't think so, right? Okay, it is not a magnetic material and a magnet. Because if it is magnetic material and magnet, it will attract, and this reading is going to decrease. It is not going to increase. Okay, so we are going to narrow down our option. Okay, magnet, sure. Okay, I already crossed out one. Okay, can it be magnet and a non-magnetic material? Okay, magnet and non-magnetic material, it should not change. Magnet and magnetic material, it should decrease. Okay, so I think we kind of already have the answer, but we still need to go through P, right? Okay, how come, why does it remain the same? Okay, there should be no interaction between P and X, right? So, okay, now we already know that this is a magnet. Okay, and then this one, no change. Okay, if there's no interaction, then I suppose P should be a non-magnetic material, correct? Okay, so if it is a non-magnetic material, then P, is it a non-magnetic material? Let's see, a non-magnetic material, okay, I don't think it is a magnetic material, because if it is a magnetic material, like I said just now, the reading is going to decrease, right? Because it's going to attract. Okay, but if this one you got to be careful, not a magnet. But if they say not a magnet, then what is it? Not a magnet can be a lot of things. Is it a chocolate bar? Is it a piece of what is it, right? So not a magnet, I don't think is a very good choice to pick. Okay, sorry, it should be crossed. So for this question, if you go through your options carefully, right, you should be able to narrow down to option 4. Okay, the first option I realized that I did not cross out anything. Okay, not a magnet. Okay, magnet and non-magnetic material. Okay, if Q and X is a non-magnetic material, then this is not gonna work, because it will remain the same at 50 gram, right, for Q and X. Okay, it will not be 70 grams. Okay, so hopefully for MCQs, you all must learn to quickly narrow down your option, think it through, ask yourself question, why is this happening, what is happening, what are the possibilities. Okay, look at the options that's given to you and start to narrow down your choices. Okay, from there I think you will be able to quickly zoom into the correct answer. All right, so any question about this question? I think this question is a bit tricky. If you never read carefully, you might not get it correct. Okay, this year science will be hard. I am guessing lah. Okay, because if like every subject is also easy, then what's gonna happen next year? Like, how are you gonna differentiate the students, right? Then the secondary schools will have problems, because everyone is gonna score well. Then everyone is gonna go into the good schools. I mean, in Singapore, every school is good, so yeah, I'm guessing. I'm not saying it will be. Okay, so but regardless, doesn't matter if it's difficult, easy, or whatever. You just do your best, right? I think the fact that you are here means that you are trying your best, right, to work hard and try to score well. Minimum I can get is AL2. AL2, you're very close to AL1 already, right? AL2 and AL1 is just like, it's just 5 marks away, so don't be careless, right? A lot of students, they actually make more than 5 marks of careless mistakes, and that's when they will drop 1 grade. can't even get AL3. It doesn't matter. I mean, you set your own target, right? You don't have to always set so high. Just try to achieve the grade that is within your capability. Like I said yesterday, I will always say the same thing. That is, as long as you try your best, I think you work hard. Okay. At the end of the day, whatever result that you get, you should be happy about it. All right. Science scores have increased because of my structured question getting better. Yeah, okay, MCQ, of course, you must be good. Then after that, then you can improve the OEQ section. I keep failing like AL6, but I improved got AL4 for prelim. Okay, it depends. Maybe your prelim paper was easier, or maybe you really worked hard and improved. Okay, what other comments? No, okay. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, question 3 is also a bit confusing and a bit difficult, a bit challenging. Okay, question 3, there are two identical springs X and Y. Okay, they have the same length. When two identical blocks are placed on the spring, the results are shown below. Okay, so there is a 4 cm over here specifically, right, to show you what? To show you they have the same length. Okay, so now you must be thinking they have the same, okay, length. Okay, but you should realize that this spring X is actually just holding on to one block. Okay, but this spring Y is holding on to two blocks. Okay, how come they have the same length? Okay, so you gotta start thinking, how come this is holding on to two blocks? Okay, how come X is holding on to only one block? Okay, how come they have the same length? Anyone can tell me what's going on with spring X and Y? Y is Shahida, so you're saying Y is stiffer. Oh yes, okay, but your spelling is okay, Y is different than X. Okay, Lilong Zen also you got it. Y is different than X. Okay, wow, very good. I think a lot of you have already done this question. Is it? It's not because this is your first time doing it. Okay, you should realize that Y is actually a stiffer spring. Okay, I better write meter, if not someone will complain. Stiffer spring, and this is less stiff. Right. Okay. But when I was trying this question, actually, I got very confused by this part where they say there are two identical spring. Okay, because if they are identical spring, they should be exactly the same, but they are not quite identical, right? Okay. The question now is asking you which graph correctly shows the relationship between elastic spring force and the compression of spring X and Y. Okay, from here you should be able to logically deduce that when the elastic spring, when the compression increase, okay, what will happen to the elastic spring force? The elastic spring force should also increase, right? So this is what you should be thinking of, after going through the whole topic on forces, elastic spring force. The more you compress the spring, the more elastic spring force it will exert. Looking at the 4 graph, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think you can immediately eliminate 2 of the graph, right? Because graph 3 and 4 tells you that when the compression is decreasing, then the force will increase. Okay, so it is like the opposite, which is totally wrong, right? So, okay, this part here, I think when you look at it, okay, there is a lot of high, okay, compression. Okay, but how can the force 0? Then high compression, like how come the force is 0? Okay, same thing for here. That is why option 3 and 4 is automatically out. Okay, why not 2? Okay, yes, that is a very good question. You are left with 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 look very similar, right? Just that one is X on top and Y below. Okay, the key thing you must realize is X is less stiff and Y is stiffer. Okay, there are two ways to look at it. Number one is you can draw a line over here. Okay, wait, let me draw further away. It's easier to see. Okay, at this elastic spring force, okay, you can give it some units, okay, maybe 10 units, right? 10 units of elastic spring force, right? Then you got to ask yourself, okay, X is kind of like more compressed. Okay, wait, compress more. Okay, and then this one is compress less. Okay, in order for them to achieve the same elastic spring force, Y just need to compress lesser, correct? Because Y is, okay, stiffer, right? So for X, you need to compress more in order to achieve the same amount of elastic spring force, correct? Okay, cannot be number two, because number two means that X compress more will be the same as, sorry, Y compress more will be the same as X. Okay, so it is wrong, right? This is one way of looking. The other way of looking is you can also draw a line here. It's going to get a bit confusing. Okay, you can draw a line. Okay, I'm not going to draw inside. I'm just going to write over here. Okay, you can draw inside and then you can compare the elastic spring force with the same amount of compression. Okay, let me choose a different color then. Okay, I'm going to choose this color. Draw a line here, maybe until here. Okay, so this is saying that they have the same compression. Given the same compression, do they exert the same amount of elastic spring force? No, right? So this is telling you that Y is more and X is less. Okay, but if you try it for the other one, right, given the same compression, they are telling you that X is more and Y is less. Okay, which doesn't make sense, right? Because Y is stiffer, so given the same compression, it should exert a larger elastic spring force, correct? Okay, so hopefully you'll understand why number two is wrong, because number one and number two are very close. Okay, and for this, the correct answer will be option one. Yep, okay. Any question? Let me just take this chance to drink water first. My teacher says number two. Okay, but did your teacher explain why it is number two? No, I'm not at home. I'm at the tuition center. I just finished my lesson at 7:30 and 7:40, which is why we start at 7:45, because I need 15 minutes to kind of like get ready. Yesterday I was at home. Why you spend so much time for MCQ? You mean like now, or what do you mean by why I spend so much time for MCQ? Oh, Alicia, you know which center I'm at. Okay, sure. I mean, any other question about the question? Do you know who is Nathaniel? Oh, yes, Nathaniel, you mean from Yishun. My favorite student. How is he? Mr. Mamason. Are you Nathaniel? You are Nathaniel. Oh my goodness. I went to Yishun like when I did the first TikTok live, and I went to the classroom to look for the students. I only saw a few familiar faces. I didn't see you. Maybe you were late or something like that. Okay, so I have frictional force for I and I am P5 frictional force. Okay, in P5, I don't think you all learn forces. Okay, maybe your teacher is teaching ahead. All right. Oh, you're Nathaniel's friend. Okay, Mr. Mamason, send my regards to Nathaniel. I'm sure he's doing well, and I'm sure he is also studying hard. If a block is on a surface and not moving, is there friction? Okay, this is a very good question. If a block is on a surface and not moving, in primary school, we treat it as there's no friction, okay? But if a block is on a slope and it is not moving, then there is frictional force, all right? Alicia, you're Jody's friend, Jody. Oh, okay, Jody from my class, is it? How come she's not here? Okay, I think we should be moving on to the OEQ section. All right. Why do you spend 10 minutes for MCQ? Because I want to elaborate a bit more, like explain a bit more, discuss a bit more. I mean, if I want to cut short, I can finish it in 1 second. I just give you the answer. Then okay, that's it. Then this live stream will end in 5 minutes. But I mean, OEQ, I still need to spend some time to talk through lah. Okay. But MCQ actually, if you really want to explain, there's a lot of things we can talk about. All right. But okay, I'm done with MCQ. Let's move on to the OEQ section. All right. Okay, question 4. Let me scroll it down a bit, make sure y'all can see. A scientist made the following observation of organisms B, C, E, F, and G. No, I'm right-handed. Okay, B and C live in water and feed on F. Okay, so when you read through, right, okay, B and C live in water. Okay, I'm not so sure why they tell us they live in water, but I'm sure there is a reason why. Okay, and feed on F. Okay, so looking at this, you can just draw a food chain, right? So F, okay, and feed on F. Okay, so B and C. Okay, feed on F. Okay, next, E lives on both. Okay, E lives on both water and land. And eats both B and C. Okay, so from here you can write something like, okay, B and C. Okay, is eaten by E, right? E lives on land and eats both B and C. Okay, G lives on land and feed on E. Okay, so G lives on land. Okay, I don't know why they tell us G lives on land. Feed on E. Okay, so E is eaten by G. Okay, then from here, okay, they want you to draw a food web. Draw a food web to show the relationship between all the organisms above. We have already drawn like short food chain, right? So we just need to combine. Actually, you can already see a relationship between here, right? E is eaten by G, so you just have to extend, okay, connect G, and then you have the extended version of the food web. Now you just need to connect, right? So I suppose F is here. F is in front, okay, and then extend to G. But of course, B and C cannot be like this, right? So when you're drawing, okay, breaking it down into short food chain will give you a good idea of where to start. Okay, we are going to start with F. F is going to be eaten by B and C. Okay, and then B and C is going to be eaten by E. Okay, and then E is going to be eaten by G. All right. So you can also do some light annotation, right? So G lives on land, okay, on land, and then lives in water. Let me see. B and C live in water. Okay, live in water. Okay, I want to change the color. B and C, okay, live in water. E lives on, okay, E lives on both, okay, both land and water. Okay, so okay, so this annotation, I mean, during exam, I think you shouldn't draw it down, but I'm writing it down, annotating so that you can see what is happening. All right. Then we move on to B. Organism E builds a nest. Okay, builds a nest in water for shelter, as shown below. Okay, from the picture, right, you can see that this is the nest. Okay, it seems like there's an entrance here. Okay, we can write something like, it seems like this is where you enter, right? You need to dive in, okay, and then after that go underwater, okay, then come up. Then there's a place here for them to seek shelter. That looks like a very safe place, right? Because it is covered all the way. I don't think predators can spot easily. Okay, even if predators want to enter, I think it's not going to be easy to enter, right? So, okay, entrance to the nest, okay, is already highlighted over here. So the next part of the question is asking you using the food chain in part A, that means using the food chain over here, and the information above. Okay, information above, I believe it should be the information over here where they talk about the animals living in water, living both on land and water, or living on land only, right? Suggest, you need to suggest two advantage, okay, of the nest for the survival of E, and then you need to explain your answer. Got water so can prey on B and C. Yeah, because B and C they live on land, correct? So E, this is organism E, right? Organism E is right over here. Okay, it is in water, so it can find food, and G lives on land, right? So G, right, if it's on land, then it's not gonna go into the water, right? Maybe the animal G don't know how to swim, right? Maybe she goes for some swimming lesson, then you'll be able to get more food. Okay, but if it's on land, then it's gonna not gonna go down. Then it is also protected from predators, right? So whenever you are answering questions about survival, okay, there are two things you need to take note of, which is of course number one. Okay, let me bring it up. How they get food, right? And how they hide or run away from, okay, predators. All right. So to survive, you must get food. Don't become the food of some other animal. So this is the two things. So we are going to explain, okay, using this, right? So we can start off by saying that when its nest is built in water, okay, when okay, the nest is built in water, okay, organism E, okay, first of all, can hide from, okay, predator G, because predator G lives on land. Right, so this is the first thing that we want to emphasize on. Okay, organism E can hide from G because G only live on land. Okay, then the next point you can elaborate on will be to talk about finding food. Right, so organism, okay, E also can, okay, eat organism B and C, okay, which live in water. So I suppose there's a lot of food, right, inside the water, okay, which allows them to get enough food, right, so they can survive well. That looks like a very big, sturdy shelter also. Looks like it's not easy to break in. Okay, so these are the advantages of, let me bring it down a bit. Okay, okay, it's time for me to drink water. Is it okay to, you are talking about some other stuff, okay, yeah, but the answer key is written by me. What does the arrow mean? The arrow means eaten by. Okay, yeah, food chain, food web shows a transfer of energy. Oh, okay, yeah, maybe it is the same, but it doesn't matter, right? Because you should have already gone through this, and this is a walkthrough, and I'm just explaining to you why you should answer it this way and why you should answer it that way. Okay, but by now, I think you all should be very good in knowing how you should answer an OEQ question, right? Okay, so shall we move on if there's no other question? Okay, makes sense. Shouldn't mark you wrong scientific. Okay, I don't know what you are saying. Okay, same as highlight that E eats B easily. E eats B easily. But what about C? You mean E eats okay, IZW, you mean E can eat B and C easily? Yeah, because it's in water, right? So this part is already highlighted. Okay, it's B and C which live in water. I don't think you need to write you can eat it easily. P5 sure you can hang around, although this question itself is not taught in P5. This is a food chain food web question, but I think a lot of science questions, they make sense. Right, it's good to expose yourself to all the different questions at this stage, right? Okay, hold on, I need to take a tissue. But we live on land and can swim. But there are some animals that live on land and can't swim, like a bird. Okay, but there are some birds that can also go into the water and catch the fish, right? I mean, you can't say we are better than fish, but fish can stay in the water forever, right? But we cannot stay in the water forever. No, I'm not at home. Why are you so? Why am I so interested? Or why are you also interested in where am I at? Okay, I'm not at home. Yesterday I was at home, but today I'm at the center because I have a lesson. So 7:45, I gotta start the live straight away, and so I'm still at the center. Okay, if no question, I think we can move on to question number 5, right? I think question number 5 is also quite interesting. Okay, insect M lays eggs. Sorry, insect M lays an egg in the ovary of a flower of plant Y and rubs pollen grains on the stigma of the same flower. So it sounds like this insect over here is a pollinator, right? Because if the insect rubs pollen grain on the stigma, then pollination is gonna occur. Okay, but at the same time, this insect also lay egg, right? So lay egg in the ovary of the flower. Okay, I'm not sure why, but I'm sure there's a good purpose for doing it. Okay, the egg of insect M hatches in the developing ovary and the young feed on the seeds of plant Y. Okay, so that's the reason why the insect is laying the eggs in the ovary, correct? Because you can get food, food, food. Okay, the young feeds on the seeds, right, of plant Y. So when the flower becomes the fruit, right, then there will be seeds for the young to feed on. Okay, that sounds like a good plan, right? The insect M has already thought it out. So for part A, they want you to state the part of the flower, okay, that the fruit of Y develops from. Okay, so hopefully you still remember your concepts about the development of a flower, right? The fruit is developed from where? Okay, the fruit is developed from the ovary, okay? And the seed develops from where? The seed develops from the ovule, right? And then when they ask about the parts of the flower, hopefully you all still remember the parts of the flower, also the male parts, female parts. Okay, things like your petal, stigma, style, okay, filament, anther. Okay, hopefully you can also differentiate which is the male part and which is the female part, right? So for part A, you just need to state the part of the flower which the fruit of Y developed from. So it developed from the ovary. Okay, let me change it to blue. Yes, ovary. Okay, let's see. The plant, okay, this scrolling is a bit too fast. I can't really see. It's fine. I think I'm not going to scroll up. Okay, then the next part B, right? Explain how rubbing of the pollen grain on the stigma of the flower benefits both. How does it benefit both the plant and insect end? Right, I'm sure after reading through the question, you can see what is the benefit, correct? Number one, what is the benefit of the insect M? It will get food, right? I mean, not the insect will get food, the young of it will get food. And for the flower or the plant itself, right, rubbing the pollen grains on the flower will help it to pollinate, turn into a fruit, disperse the seed, and then it will continue on with its life cycle, right? So basically, the plant will be able to continue to reproduce. Okay, so benefit for the plant is reproduction, right? So once you realize these two, okay, then first remember to talk about like the rubbing of the pollen grains, right? So remember it will be a pollination, okay, then fertilization, right? Pollination, fertilization, then become a fruit, and then it will reproduce. All right. Okay, let us write down the answer. Okay, why is this like that? Okay, hold on. Okay, so okay, so rubbing pollen grains, okay, on the stigma, okay, results in pollination, okay, and fertilization. Okay, of the flower. Fruits of, okay, then the fruits of the okay, let me just continue and say results in pollination and fertilization of the flower, comma, turning it, okay, into a fruit. Okay, then this ensures that this ensures the continuity, okay, of plant Y okay, and the young of, okay, remember it's the young of insect okay, M can eat on the seeds, okay, of the fruit, okay, to ensure survival. Okay, so few things you need to talk about. Definitely, you need to talk about pollination, right? Because rubbing the pollen grains on the stigma, right, will result in pollination, then fertilization of the flower, so it will turn into a fruit, right? The fruit, when they disperse the seed, they will reproduce. This will ensure that the plant itself can continue reproducing, and at the same time, the young of insect M will also be able to eat on the seeds, right? So having fruit, then you will be able to survive. Okay, I think this question in itself is not too difficult also. If you read carefully, right, at least you will be able to get 1 mark from here, because this is just um like testing you on, do you know your concept, right? And then this part, when it comes to explaining, you need to really be clear and emphasize on what's the benefit for the plant and emphasize on what's the benefit for the insect. Okay, let's quickly move on to the next question, because we are kind of running short of time, right? We move on to question 5. Question 5 is the electricity question. So if you're P5, right, I'm sure you all just would have just done the electricity topic also. Okay, cannot set up an electric circuit in a toy using identical bulbs and batteries as shown. All the circuits and components are working properly, right? So if you look at the diagram over here, you should realize some problems because number one, the bulbs does not look like it's connected properly, right? Let me just highlight over here, bulbs, okay, casing, okay, not connected. Right, this is the first thing that you should see. Okay, the second thing that you should see is over here. The batteries are connected in the wrong terminal. Okay, if you should realize this is like positive, negative, right? So they are connected using the wrong terminal. Okay, wrong connection also for the battery. Right, it seems like there are two problems over here. So when he closed the switch, then obviously the bulbs are not gonna light up because they are not connected properly. Okay, so use a pencil to complete the circuit diagram below. So you're supposed to draw the circuit diagram below, correct the two mistakes, right? Connect the bulb such that if one blows, then the other will still light up. Okay, so this is clearly trying to tell you that your arrangement should be connected in parallel. Okay, if you look at this connection over here, it is connected in series. Okay, not a very good connection also because components that are arranged in series, right, when one of it stop working, everything will stop working, right? So you probably want to connect it in parallel so that when one of it stop working, the others will still continue to work. The bulbs will light up only when the switch is closed. Okay, so the switch is over here already provided. If that's the case, that means you should place the switch. Okay, the switch is already near the battery, right? So let me just try and draw the battery over here. Okay, if you want to draw it positive or negative, is up to you, but I am going to draw it like this, okay, with the positive part here. And then after that, I'm going to draw it like this, okay, with the positive part here. Okay, battery is already done. Okay, then next I am going to connect to this bulb first. Okay, why am I using purple? Okay, I should be using blue. Connect to the bulb here first. Okay, and then I'm gonna draw a wire from the tip, okay, to here, and then okay, I am going to go back to here. Okay, then next I can connect the tip of this bulb here and then connect it to, okay, this wire, be careful, right? Because if you connect it to here, then the switch cannot light up. The switch cannot control both the bulbs. Okay, so you must make sure your wire go to this part here so that this point over here, right, okay, the bulb will light up only when the switch is closed. Okay, so once you draw your wiring like this, everything will work properly. Okay, I realize that a lot of students, even up to P6, right, they are very weak in circuit drawing. Okay, a lot of y'all are losing marks in circuit drawing. Yeah, okay, be careful of short circuit. We don't really teach short circuit, right? So be very careful about it. All right, so make sure you connect it in parallel, right? Make sure the bulbs will light up only when the switch is closed. So when I close this switch, then these two bulbs will light up. All right. Okay. Any question about the question or any question about your upcoming science? I think just now at the beginning of the live, I already gave you a lot of tips, right? Okay, read carefully, just do light annotation, light underlining, and all that. All right. We should start off with the Kahoot already. Let me just remind y'all again the giveaway rule. Okay, let me hide my class first. Okay, so join the Kahoot with your name, and then remember to, if you are one of the top three, right, DM us with a screenshot of your standing. Okay, and then we will send the prize all the way to you. Okay, hold on. I am trying to. What is the technique to answer open-ended question? There's a lot of different answering techniques, right? So you can use whatever you learn in school, or in A grader we teach you the DSL, right? Describe what you see from the result first, then use a science concept, and then at the end link it back to the question, right? Okay, at the end of it, if you understand the answering technique, I think it's good to rely on a certain answering technique. Okay, while you are joining, let me just show you the prizes. There's gonna be a pop mug prize. Okay, can see or not? Okay, can see, right? So these are SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay, so this is one of the prize. The other is this scented what is this, marker. Okay, it smells very nice, right? And then there's also another scented pen also. This one cannot smell because the plastic box is kind of like covering it. All right. So if you're one of the top three winners, you will get one of these. They look very nice. But remember to screenshot and then send it to us, okay? Because if you don't send, then the prize will be mine. Ha ha ha. All right. Okay, better don't send, then I will get all the prizes. Ha ha ha. But okay lah, no lah. It's better to send it to you all. Okay, we will just hang on for maybe 1 more minute. Okay, now we have about 81 people joining. Okay, you should try to join with your name so that it's easier for us. Okay, join the Kahoot with your name. It's gonna be easier for us to find you, all right? Or the better way is you all find us lah, all right? Okay, yeah, should get teacher Polly to conduct the AA grader live also. I think she's a very good teacher also. Are you a student? I don't show speed. You're in a class. Okay, always. Oh, Celine, you're in the class. Ex-student, I see. You must have done ex-student. That means, okay, I think I need to start soon. So, okay, 86, roughly there. Shouldn't be more, right? You can still join using the pin, all right? Let's start. Oh, first question already double point. Determine which living thing A, B. Okay, is the music too loud? Because yesterday is like the music was too loud or something. Determine which living things A, B, C, or D is the producer and predator based on this relationship below. What B fits on D, A gets its food from C, D fits on both A and C. Okay, very difficult unless you draw it out. So you all should try to draw it out. Okay, what is the code? 453573. Okay, a lot of you all figured it out very good. Okay, Heidi is leading, but that's only the first question. Based on diagram X and Y below, by how much did the temperature of the water rise after it? Oh, okay, you got to look at the picture carefully. I think the picture is quite clear. Okay, so you need to slide it to the increase. What is the temperature? How much did the temperature of the water rise? Okay. Okay, it is 25. Alright, I think if you saw it carefully, do some mathematical calculation, you should be able to get it. Okay, although your math is over, but still need to use mathematics. Okay, next question. The energy conversion for an electrical blender is electrical energy to kinetic energy to kinetic plus heat plus sound. Is that true or false? Okay, it looks like it is true. Right, electrical, then the blades will move, right? Okay, next question. Determine where Mingzhe should add a switch in circuit T if he wants to control B only. Okay, this one you need to drop your pin. Drop your pin at the place of the circuit where you think the switch should be, so that you will only control bulb B. Alright. Okay, Raihan, I don't really meet teacher Pauline, so I'm not gonna tell her who you are, even if I tell her, I think it doesn't do anything. Wow, all over the place. Okay, but it should be only along the line of bulb B. Alright. Okay, based on the diagram below, which pole, north or south, would X be? Okay, a lot of students I realize don't remember the stroking method. Right, so if you look at the diagram, the north pole is the one that is stroking, right? Take note of where it starts, where it ends. Hopefully you remember your concept, and hopefully you realize that X is actually the south pole. Joan is now leading. Okay, question 6. Diagram below shows the similarity and differences between a chick cell and leaf cell. So one is an animal cell and one is a plant cell. Can you identify A and B? Oh no, I'm not gonna do it again. So it should end. This live should end once we are done with the Kahoot. All right. Cell is a P5 topic, so you should be very familiar, especially if you're taking your PSLE science next week. All right. Okay, 60 something of you all got it. Good. Okay, Joan is still leading, right? But very close. The second placing is very close. Okay, this is the second last question. Another double point. Okay, double point is a very good chance for you to catch up, right? Which of the following statement about Christian's experiment are correct? Okay, so Christian set up an experiment using a magnet, a spring, and a ball. Is this multi-select? Okay, I'm not very sure. Is this multi-select or not? Okay, magnet again, yes. A lot of magnet question, because magnet question very easy to set. I also like to set magnet question. Okay, good. So 80 something and 70 something, even more. Right? Did the leading change? No. Okay, still Joan ZL. Okay, next question. Last question. I think the top 3 is more nervous, right? Okay, diagram below shows the life cycle of butterfly. Name stage X. Oh, this one, type in the answer quickly. What is stage X? Oh my goodness, if you get this wrong, then I don't know what to say. What is stage Y? Heidi, is it pupa, pupae or something? Heidi, is it pupa, pupae or something? Pupae or something? Okay, you put pup, pup, like puppy or what? Okay, the top 3, Joan, ZL, and Machining, remember to take a screenshot. Okay, please send us a message. And then from there, we will be able to get information from you on how to mail you the items which I showed just now. Okay. All right. So next week is your PSLE science. I mean, I have nothing to say, but wish you good luck. Hopefully, you be careful. Right. The main thing is please be careful. Make sure you don't make any careless mistake. and underline your keywords carefully, read carefully, drink a lot of water, catch enough sleep, don't stay up late at night. Okay, so all the hard work that needs to be done is already done. Okay, enjoy the process, don't feel so stressed. It's gonna be over soon, and you will enjoy for the next few months until you get back your result. Okay, when you get back your result, then you start to cry. Okay, but okay, don't need to cry lah. All right, so I'm sure you will do well because you've already tried your best. All right. Okay, so if nothing more, I am going to end the live. Okay, I hope. Oh no, wait. See you next live. Okay, next live is a P5 creative writing and situational writing. I think. Okay, on the 4th of October, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Typically, is usually on 7:30. Okay, we walk through of Red Swastika end of year 2023 paper, right? So P5s, right? I think your exam is not done yet, or the P5, P4 still struggling. Okay, remember to join us for the live and learn some English and win some prizes also. All right. Okay. So who will scold us? She very fierce. Who is very fierce? Okay. Anyway, I think yes. Good luck for those who are taking PSLE. I will see you the next time, and goodbye.